You can just tell me what you see in that picture there. And if you want to, if you're up to it, you could try using a microphone so we can hear properly, okay? Just hold that. Don't hold it too close, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you see in that first picture there?
A woman with a feather.
A woman with a feather.
And then and she's maybe asleep. What we say?
Oh, very interesting. Anyone else?
A fur jacket on her.
No, I see a woman with a hood on.
What?
A woman with a hood.
There's somebody saw an elephant, and I thought, how do you see an elephant there? I don't know.
What's the answer?
Well, how many women do you see?
One.
Stand back a little bit, because you're probably not seeing it correctly. How many women do you see?
One.
Is she young or old?
Old.
Okay, so how many of you see a young woman?
I see both. I see a young
Okay,
woman.
so first of all, you only see the one, then you see the other. Okay, what about your mathematics? Any good at mathematics?
Yeah.
See if you can answer that question. Use the microphone if you want.
1,040, 1,040, 2,040, 2,050, 3,050.
So far, so good.
3,090.
Not bad.
4,000.
Very good. Oh, you're so good. You know, what? That's the most common wrong answer. I know you, for a moment there, you thought, see, I'm smart.
3,700.
No, that's guessing. You're guessing now.
No, I worked it out.
No, you're guessing. You're guessing.
1,000. 1,040.
Do you have an answer?
Words.
They're words. That's right. They're words. Good. But what is the answer to the mathematics question? Somebody says there are no numbers there. Have you ever seen a checkbook before? Like when it says €1,000, you're going to say, I'm not taking that. That's just words. I would take the check, wouldn't you?
1,040.
So there are numbers. We are expressing them in words or in figures. Doesn't really matter which. But as you can see, what is the question? What is 1,000 plus 40?
1,040.
That's right. Then it says, now add another 1,000 and you've got what?
2,040.
Correct. Then you add 10 and you've got?
2,050.
Correct. Then 1,000 more you've got?
3,050.
Then you add 40 and you've got?
3,100.
3,990, did you say?
Yeah.
And add 10 to that and you've got?
4,000.
No. 3,090 plus 10 is?
That's the
3,090 plus 10 is?
What?
3,090 plus 10 is?
3,100.
There you go. And that is a common mistake that people make. You see, there is a reason for, there's also sorts of prizes, but how many answers? Oh, how about this one here, for example? Can you see what it says there?
God is nowhere.
Are you sure it says that? Because some people read it differently.
Go this.
There you go. Now that man over here might want that microphone. I don't know. You want to be picked up so we can hear what you're saying. Because sometimes we want to get a reaction from people. Does it say God is nowhere or God is now here? Or is it saying both, depending on your perspective?
Perception is all. The meaning we give to stimuli.
That's very good. Now, I got one more of these questions. See if you can read what's written in the three triangles.
Paris in the spring, bird in the hand, once in a lifetime.
I'm guessing.
Once in a
Oh, you got a bit of a stutter there, or is it?
One.
It's on. It should be on.
Once in a lifetime.
Once in a life.
See that?
There's two A's.
So, see, the thing is that has anyone ever heard those phrases before?
No.
You should have. Paris in the spring, bird in the hand,
Yes.
something like that. Because if you've heard them before, you might think, I've heard it, I'm not even actually reading it. Whereas this guy here, what's your name, sorry?
Enda.
Enda has actually read it carefully, and it has noted that it says Paris in the spring.
Mhm.
Bird in
the hand.
And once in a lifetime. Very good. Okay, two more questions. See who can come up with the right answer to this one. You might want to stand back a little bit for that one. Come on, what's the answer? What? Rotten flesh is greater than God. The devil is greater than God?
Oh no, sorry.
So you got to be careful how you read it. Now,
Enda.
like in Kenny, like in the
No.
no. Okay, so what? No, the answer's not what. That's a good answer though. What is greater than God? But no, it's not the right answer.
No.
Yes. By the way, if you didn't realize that these are riddles, questions, yeah. And it's for my YouTube channel, which is going to be posted later on if we want to use it, information there or stuff. So just in case you don't want to be on camera, don't worry. But anyway, what is greater than God, worse than the devil? The dead eat it, and if the living eat it, they die. Come on, what's the answer? Don't Google it. Surely you're not Googling the answer there. She would know. Call a friend, is it? Any answers over there? Anybody? Does nothing come to mind? Nothing comes to mind, no? Yeah, I already did. Nothing came to mind? Nothing? Nothing. Okay, so what is greater than God? Nothing. What's worse than the devil? Nothing. What do the dead eat? Nothing. And if the living were to eat nothing, they would die. Okay, final question. And this is a good one. See who can come up with the quickest answer. I might as well just hold it up here for everyone to see. Finished files are the results of years of scientific. I forget what it says. Okay, finished files are the results of years of scientific experience combined with experience of years. The only question is, how many times does the letter F appear? Where's that microphone? You got it there, Phil?
I have.
Okay. In case anyone wants to pass the mic, you can pass it along. We don't want to lose the mic. But anyway, what's the answer? What? Three? Three! Who said three? Well done. That's the most common answer. She got that wrong before, but anyway, three is the most. What? Do not look back. The answer's not even on the back. So I think most people realize there are, in fact, six. Yeah. And most people didn't notice that one there, and that one there. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right? I don't know. I don't know.
Primacy effect.
There you go. This man here has the answer. I forget his name.
Enda. The primacy effect.
What's that?
The first thing that we see, we hold most. And then the last thing as well can be the recency, but you were already programmed for the end.
Okay. Here's a quick. Here's something else. Just so, in case there's anyone here. When's the last time you had your eyes tested? By the way. Last one. Now you may not realize what I'm doing here today and why I'm here today, but I'm out here with my friend Tralee here, and we're doing a bit of preaching of the gospel. We're preaching. Okay. Now, can you spot the difference between these two cards? Sorry. What was it? One is red. One is different colors. Yeah. Very good. That's the only difference. Some people would have said that one is bigger than the other.
They're not. They put them straight.
But it's because it's an optical illusion. Well done. And there's many things we could say about that. But let me ask you this. Do you value your eyes?
Yeah.
How much value would you place on one eye? 100 euro. 100 euro for an eye.
No, I thought you meant how much, like...
Look, say someone said, we want to buy your eye,
Never.
right?
I wouldn't sell it.
You'd sell your eye for 100, yeah?
No, 60,000.
60,000? Why?
I wouldn't sell my
Okay,
eye.
supposing somebody says, we're Japanese experts, we can take out your eye, give you a bionic eye, all for 60,000, and that's your money for your eye. Would you do it?
No.
And we'll give you one of these. Just happen to have one on me, by the way. You can have one, any color you want. No, you can't have it. But that's my from a kid my kid had at home. Anyway, the idea is that you value your eyes so much, right? You wouldn't sell it for anything because it's valuable to you. Have you ever heard the expression, the eyes are the windows of the soul?
No.
Have you heard it before? Yes. The eyes are the windows of the soul, they say. So if the eyes are the windows of the soul, and you value your eyes so much, my question for you is, what's your name? Elaine. Ellie. Where's that microphone, by the way, just in case they might want to hold that. Whoever
It's
wants
not
it.
an illusion.
That's right. It's still on, yeah. Okay, so the reason is because if you value your eyes so much, right, and your eyes are the windows of the soul, then my question is, how much value do you place on the soul itself? Don't hold it too close. Mine's right here.
It's not for sale.
Okay, so you value your soul very highly. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Which is your life.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if that's true by asking one follow-on question. You ready for it?
Yeah.
Ellie, how much? What?
Ellie.
Ellie, I said Ellie.
Yeah, he said Ellie.
Earlier, right?
Yeah, Ellie.
Earlier I got it wrong. Okay, if that's true that you value your soul so much, let me ask this question: how much time or thought have you given to the question of what happens to you when you die?
Just
A little bit of thought.
A little bit, but you value it so highly, right?
Yeah.
But you see, that doesn't really add up, when you say, I value it so highly, yet I wouldn't really give it a lot of time or thought. You need to think more seriously about those things, because we're all going to have to face it one day, right? And some people don't even like going to funerals because the idea of having to face a dead person. But it's a slap in the face because you realize, well, that might happen to me one day. And then the question is, so what happens after that? Have you any ideas? It raises good questions,
You go to heaven.
You go to heaven? You mean like me?
Everyone goes.
Everyone. Everyone goes to heaven. So I could just go around shooting everybody, blowing everyone up, and saying, yippee, boom, I'm going to heaven. Everyone goes to heaven, right?
Yeah.
You sure about that?
I'm not sure. No.
Not so sure about that. No, I'm not so sure about that either. If that was the case, you'd just do whatever you want in this life and wouldn't care less about anything else. You say, I'm going to heaven at the end of the day. And it's not true, is it? Because you know what the Bible tells us? This one verse. It says, it is appointed unto men to die once, and after this, there's a judgment. And if you had to face a judgment, you would live differently on this world, in this life, wouldn't you? If you knew you had to face a judge at the end of your life, right? A severe judge who's absolutely holy and righteous. And that's the God that we must face one day. And there is a way of salvation, by the way, to avoid the death penalty, which we're all under the death penalty in this life anyway. But there's a second death. How do we avoid that? Go on.
Yeah, don't
how
sin.
can you not sin when we're kind of like programmed to do so?
Yeah, don't.
And we've already sinned.
Don't murder someone.
Yeah, don't murder.
Don't murder
We've
anyone.
already done these things.
You haven't murdered
No, but some people have. Let's say they said, okay, now I realize I
You
shouldn't.
haven't.
Well, what sins do you have to do to be considered bad?
Not pray.
Curse.
Really?
Curse.
Oh, so you're talking about the Ten Commandments, aren't you? Really? So the first one is you shall have only one God. Number 2, don't make for yourself any idols. Number 3, don't blaspheme God's name. Number 4, keep the Sabbath day holy. Number 5, honor your mother and father. Number 6, you shall not murder. Number 7, do not commit adultery. Number 8, you shall not steal. Number 9, you shall not bear false witness, lying in court especially. And number 10, you shall not covet. The Roman Catholics have added it or changed it around a little bit to still have 10 by doubling up on the 10th commandment, giving yourself, you shall not covet this and you shall not covet that, and by smuggling in there, by hiding the first commandment and taking away the second one so that it doesn't mention about idols because they like their idols. You know what I mean? Anyway, so it's good to hear from you girls, but you need to understand this. Listen, take some of these with you. You got some tracks there. This is a little one for you to think about. Okay, and here's something different for you to think about. Here's something completely different for you who are good at math. But I am trying to bring you to the point. What age are you? 13. Okay, I was 17-year-old when I came face to face with my need to get right with God. You're probably not thinking about that at the moment, but you should be thinking about it because we need to live a life that is pleasing God, and we're not. Okay. Okay. Thanks for your time. Okay, and yourself? Where are you at?
17 and a half.
You're 17 and a half?
17 and a half. Did I just lie?
No, not necessarily, because you didn't say in what context. And if you give the context, it might mean that I'm 17 and a half survivor of cancer.
Yes.
Yeah, it could be, I've just lived in this country for 17 and a half years.
I made food.
There you go. Oh, very good. Well, listen, we don't have you on camera. You want to be on camera?
Does your camera want me on it?
Well, if you want to answer some questions, hold up.
Well, even depending on.
Okay. Are you from this part?
Yes, I am.
Just
Don't live here, but I'm down in Hoggies.
His accent.
I love Tralee.
Okay. And do you have a religious background at all? Do you mind me asking those sort of things?
I don't mind you asking. In a background as in baptized Catholic.
Uh-huh. Okay. Was that when you were a baby?
Indeed it was.
Did you have any... Now, I know there's different views on this, but did you have any say in that?
No.
Do you
no,
think
I wasn't.
you ought to have had?
Again, context and the time it was.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, but
I know, but when I was born, that was the standard. You were baptized when you were a
Yes.
baby.
But I'm just thinking, as an adult now,
Yes.
17-year-old.
Yes, correct. Yes.
I'm just wondering, thinking back on that, do you think that, hey, I didn't get consulted on that. I should have been maybe more. They should have waited until I had at least an understanding of what it was, because I had no say in these things. Or do you think it is irrelevant?
It depends. I mean, as one gets older, I still have a choice with regard to my religious beliefs or otherwise, and if I wanted to change religion and my beliefs.
Okay.
But I'm not. I wouldn't be terribly. Ah, look, you can. I mean, of course, the Catholic religion. If you weren't baptized as a baby, the fear if you died.
Yes.
Then, of course, there was original sin. There was purgatory. So that was another reason. The fear of the child not being baptized, going to purgatory, going to hell. None of which I believe in now.
None of those things.
No. I don't believe. No, I believe when we die, Shine. That's it.
Okay.
They're my beliefs.
I wanted to ask you about the one that you did mention there was original sin.
Mm-hmm.
The Roman Catholic Church, when it did do the baptism, it wasn't just a baptism, it was baptismal regeneration. And most people don't realize what that means, but it is the getting rid of that original sin, right? Called the new birth. We talk about the new birth as something that must be experienced, but they make it happen by baptizing an infant, they believe, okay? So therefore it grows up, no original sin there? Or maybe you've changed your view that we are not as sinners as they were.
I believe majority is man-made. It's a control mechanism as churches, etc., hold the power and the fear that was created, which flowed through very much Catholicism.
Okay, well,
so I don't have any beliefs in a church. I don't have a belief in a God. I believe as we get older, we contemplate our mortality, and I've got to a very comfortable place in my life where I believe when we die, that is it. No more.
And of course you don't know
That's
this.
it. Yes, I don't, and you don't know either that there is a higher spirit.
You believe that, don't you?
Yes, that is my belief.
Okay. And it would be based upon observation or what?
It's based upon. I do not believe there's any God. I do not believe there's any spirit, a God of good and mercy in this world that we have. No one has ever come back to tell me that there is a higher or another spirit.
Okay.
And unfortunately, the answer over many years of you must have faith, there isn't a science behind it.
Faith?
A faith.
Okay,
a faith in a
yes,
belief that there is a God.
Well,
and I also believed
yeah.
in growing up, and we read the scriptures, God all-knowing, God all-powerful,
yeah.
predestination,
yeah.
which then contradicts, for me, the notion of free will. How can we have free will?
And who says
if there's an all-knowing God?
But who says we have free will? Where do you read this or hear about this?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I said we don't have free will.
Okay.
If it's an all-knowing God who's all-powerful and made us. So
we have
if you're simply,
we might have a sense in which we think we have free will.
Well, then we're controlled. If that is your argument, by a higher power, a God.
Well,
before I enter this world, if it's a God you're talking about or some name.
I'm talking about
similar.
Yes, that there's a sovereign creator over all things, who knows all things, yes, and has predestined and predetermined certain things for sure. But people have a sense in which they believe that they have free will, but they don't realize, well, I'm actually influenced by lots of things around me.
Okay, we can. Yeah, for me, now that might be getting into semantics. I believe if there is this higher power creator who made us in whatever form, knows what we will do in this life and knows where we will go, I don't have any sense of free will in its broadest, narrowest sense or otherwise.
So let's say, going by if this is true, that there is a sovereign God who knows all things, that he knows and he's told us certain things already. For example, the verse I quoted earlier to those girls was, it is appointed unto men to die once. Well, that certainly is a fact. Okay? But after this, a judgment. There's a judgment to come. Do you believe that there's no judgment to come? Nothing at all? So people can pretty much do as they live and like on this earth.
Yeah, when people do in this life due to many conventions, how they were brought up, their values taught by parents, by a society, and not just in relation to a god or a power. I mean, I don't typically do harm unto others. I believe in kindness, caring for others, and I
Maybe
try to live my life. And I'm a very ordinary person who's imperfect, with many
imperfect,
flaws.
yeah, sure,
But it's not. I'm not bound by the fear or the thought of a god or a judgment.
sure. You can people can live like that as if there's no God, sort of more or less an atheist, even if they don't declare themselves to be an atheist. They live like there's no God, there's no justice.
Based on what we learn, based on our values, our attitudes and behaviours as we're brought up in any society by parents or otherwise.
And there are laws that you live by in this country, right? And if you break the laws, there are consequences.
Legislation, yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, there are consequences for breaking God's laws. And obviously, you're not declaring yourself to be a perfect person, but you might consider yourself to be a good person. And yet, when we go through the commandments, we find that we trip up on so many of them. And that's because that's coming out of our heart, which is not right. We are fallen creatures. No matter what happened at baptism, it didn't change that, right? Okay. Well, one of the big things that people, our job when we come out on the streets and talk to people is not to prove God's existence. We can declare that, and if I wanted to do that, it would be very hard to produce enough evidence to satisfy somebody. But I go by a presuppositional view that you know that God exists, and just simply are ignoring the facts that are around you, because you cannot account for creation otherwise. It's really very difficult. And there's this huge, big thing called this planet, right? Plus all the other planets going out into space in almost infinitely, right? And yet, where does it come from? And so scientists have been asked that question, and they used to believe that this universe has always existed.
Quantum physics and quantum mechanics, they do.
Yes. And yet, they came to the realization in about the 30s that that's actually not true, that the universe has not always existed, that it came into existence, and that's why they came up with this thing called the Big Bang. Isn't that right?
Big Bang Theory, yep.
So that's an acknowledgement, or at least an admission, there was a beginning. Because it either has always existed or it was brought into existence. And that's why when you come to, even without the Bible, you can philosophically realize it and logically realize that things cannot produce themselves. Either they came into existence or already existed and have always existed. Which one is it? And that's the conundrum that the atheist, and there are two types of atheists. I think you're in the second category. There are the militant atheists who make claims that there is no God, which they can't back up. Or there's people who simply say what you said is, I do not believe that there's a God, which is sickening. Fine. It's more of an agnostic view, really. Vitaly, you want to?
I don't know. My English maybe not so, how to say, advanced, because I'm Ukrainian. I'm foreigner.
Slava Ukraini.
Героям слава.
Героям слава.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for your support as Irish people. But what I should share with you, that my view about I little bit, when I became a Christian, I little bit struggled with the idea of evolution, yeah. But when I started examine for myself, one interesting question I found in internet, via internet, as Christian in that time, but previously I little bit struggled with this idea of Darwin evolution. But I find out a very interesting fact that even if we suppose that evolution exists, even that idea needs a God, like higher power, as you said, or creation, because we could find very, when I started to realize about beetles, for example, they have similar, like to say, organs inside of it. Yes, they have a digestive system similar to other creatures. They have an eye, not the similar, but very complicated. They have a heart. They have even sexual organs, how to say. So they have the same idea, but they are formed, they like created in different space and form, like they are biologically, biochemically so different, so distant. And this idea, this notion is existed in the air between all kinds of creations. They have size, they have ears in some kind of it, maybe like even beetles have organs of hearing. So how could it will work how it would work with blind forces, even if we suppose such idea as evolution, without any design, without any creations, that all have organs of sight. They so distant by their like they so distant by their nature, by how they sustain in itself. So they so distant, they so diverse, they they situated on the opposite sides. So they are not. We are not like beetles. Our flesh is composed in such distant way.
Would you think that over the years, over the hundreds and thousands of years, where science has given us,
but this is belief. This is belief. Yeah, I understand what you mean. But this is some kind of religion beliefs that people have in evolution. They like they like give this blind force the same idea that Christians address to God. So I came to such conclusion, and I have such spiritual also, like people said, UFOs. I have experience with like paranormal in my childhood. So I see like creatures similar to demons, and it was so close to my home, probably 10 minutes, when I started, like, I see, this is not a vision, not hallucination. I started to see like a big, how to say, store. You mean like some gathering, like dry store, like
magazine?
No, I mean
a place?
Straw, probably. So like dried grass.
Okay, yes.
Gathering on the big like amount. In one
haystack.
Haystack, yeah. I began suddenly see that this is haystack. Started moving to me, and out of it is a very dark and very horrible creature started to speak to me and started to embrace me on his arms. I experienced physically, it's not like vision. I see all around with my consciousness, and this so horrible. And I remember this life up until this day. And my parents and people get all police, get all imaginable people started looking for me, and they passed by this place. It's so close to my home, probably 5 minutes ago from my home, from where we live. So they couldn't see me, they couldn't search me, they couldn't find me. Up until this moment, this creature like leave me alone, and
sounds like a
yes.
How old were you then?
I was 6 years old, yes, and I remember it's so impressed. And after this, I started to ask my mom. We live in Soviet Union. We have like religion, atheist religion, is that there is no God. The believers are very dark and very strange people that even could commit murders and could commit crimes. So that our teacher, as communist, told us on the lessons. So we have, in my imagination, that all starts from the moment of Soviet Revolution in 1970. All we know is so we so dismissed. Maybe in middle classes we started to realize it was Rome, it was Greece, it was England, like empire, like Spanish Empire. But after we so be influenced by communism idea. So I started asking such questions because we a little bit have a small window of opportunities to know a little bit in other light, because we have a Polish TV, and Poland have a mild form of communism. They have like Western programs, Western films, not like in cinemas like in Soviet Union. We have like some Americans little bit films in that time, but it's very rare amount of it. Yes, but
where were you living in Ukraine?
I live in Western part, close to the Polish border. It's a former former Polish state up until 1945. Ukraine been absorbed. Ukraine get actually independence in 1990, but this new state existed only 3 years.
So listen.
And been absorbed by Poland. Yeah.
Like in my case, it was simple. I wasn't looking for God, as the Bible says, none seek for God. I crawled out of a pub. I wasn't looking for God. I was drunk. But by the time I got home, I wasn't drunk. I crawled through people's gardens, whatnot. But when I got to my home, I looked up into the sky and I thought, if there is a God, how would I even get to know this God? Then it started dawning on me, if what I've been told about God is true, that God is holy and just, and I have to face him one day, that's not looking good. And from that moment on, a fear of the reality of meeting God hung over me. And for 6 weeks, I started to look for answers to how can I get right with God. That's where I, after 6 weeks' time in my own bedroom, cried out to God for forgiveness and a change of my life. And that's why I'm a Christian today. Different story, right? God works in different ways.
Maybe I take a long time to express you, yeah? But,
okay.
Gentlemen, thank you very much.
You too.
Nice to meet you both.
Funny.
I just want to share that these questions, like, give birth to some searching. Me, that I started searching for God. Started reading the Bible. That's what I know from me.
Whoops.
I mean, let's use the word good people.
Yeah.
We just accept that. Okay?
Not in the perfect sense, but in
There is
nice
no
people,
perfect
nice
person.
people, nice people.
Nice guys.
Nice to see you, yeah.
But yeah, and I think for anyone, if it helps them through this life, fantastic.
Well, what's
I'm
the-
not saying
Yeah.
I'm not saying for you. For me, maybe
Sure.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's like saying, enjoy wearing a parachute. Why are you ever going to need that?
No,
You know, because hey, it's good. It makes me feel great to know that I have a parachute, but I may never need it. Whereas I know that
No,
at
to
any
help you through. Sorry, to help us in this life
yeah.
as we are here.
But-
Whatever afterwards exists, doesn't exist, or otherwise.
Okay.
Judgment Day or no judgment day.
But if you were on an airplane, okay, and someone says you'll have to put on this parachute, and you might say, no, I'd prefer not. I just want to enjoy my flight. And you go, I don't see anyone else wearing a parachute anyway. Why? It's going to be uncomfortable, and I don't really want one. But then they said, well, here's the deal. In a little while, you're going to have to jump. Oh, well, in that case, give me the parachute. See, the thing is that one day we're going to go out through the door of death, and we have to be ready for it. And it seems like at this time in your life, you're not ready. You're okay as the plan goes smoothly, but when you hit severe turbulence, that's when it's like, oh, this is not feeling so comfortable anymore. And the plan's not just to say, make you feel better. This is because of the reality, something that you don't know. And as I said earlier on, it is appointed unto men to die once. It's going to happen. After this, there's a judgment. Take God's word for it or reject it at your peril.
So we care about
There you go.
people's souls and we
Yeah.
want just to share a gospel with the people. But what we want to share a gospel with the people from what we know, from our experience, what we feel.
If we didn't do it, like Penn Gillette, I think his name said, if I believe what you believe and I didn't tell other people, that would be very cruel. Because either you believe it is to be absolutely true and you want to share with other people because you know you have the answer, you have the cure, whatever it is. But if you don't, why are you holding that back? So it's right and proper that we should be sharing and trying to propagate what we believe to be true. Okay? Otherwise, it's just false. Okay, well, nice to meet you. I'm not very used to that name, that's all.
It's more common than it was.
Yeah.
Is it Irish name?
Iona is the Gaelic.
Gaelic name.
1,000 plus 40. No,
Oh,
add
come
another
on.
1,000. 2040.
Okay,
Add
what's
10.
your answer?
2050. 3,090.
Camera shy.
4,000.
Well done. That's the most common wrong answer. That's an even worse answer. Come on over here. Get over here. What? What's your problem? You're not good at maths? Okay. Have a quick stand back a little bit. What does it say there? It says 1,000 plus 40.
Yep.
Right. What's
That's
that?
1,040.
Correct. Now add another 1,000.
2,040.
Correct. Now add 10.
2,050.
Correct. 1,000 more.
3,050.
Correct. Add 40.
Oh, wait. So 1,000 plus 40 is 1,040. Now add 2,040.
Yeah.
2,050.
Yeah.
2,090.
Yeah.
3,000.
Still wrong.
I don't know.
You were heading in the right direction. So 1,000 plus 40. 1,040.
Yeah.
Now add another 1,000. It's 2,040. Correct?
Yeah.
Right. Now add 10. 2,050. 2,050. 1,000 more will be 3,050. Now add 40. 3,090. Up to this point, 3,090.
Yeah.
Right. So far, so good. Right. Now add 10.
Oh, 3,100.
Ah, finally got it. Okay. Now, you seem to be quite convinced that you were right.
Yeah,
Am I
was.
right that you were quite convinced that you were right, but you were wrong?
Yeah, I thought I was right.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people who think that they're right when it comes to these sorts of things. What about this one here? What do you see in that picture? What do you see? Maybe you can ask your friends.
Come here. Can I phone a friend?
They're ashamed or afraid to be on camera, right? In case the whole world will see you. Yeah, the whole world will see this.
I see one girl.
What is she, young or old?
Young.
So you see a young woman there, right?
Yeah.
You see young women here. Now, has she got something on her? Has she got something on her neck, perhaps?
She has.
What is it? What's she got on her neck?
I don't know. It's just something on her neck.
A black velvet band, maybe?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Now, supposing it wasn't a black velvet band, it was somebody else's mouth.
Somebody else's what?
Mouth.
Mouth. Oh, I see it.
Oh, now you see. What do you see?
It kind of looks like... I can't tell.
Do you see an old woman?
No.
You don't see an old woman.
No.
You see a young woman, but not an old woman.
Yeah.
Even with the clue that I give you, the cryptic helping. See, where her neck is someone else's mouth, okay? You can't see
I can see one eye, but I can't tell
You
what
can
the other
see
thing
one
is. Yeah.
Can you not see, like, this is, all the white stuff is her hood, that's her hair, the black stuff, that's her big nose, that's her mouth. You see an old lady?
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
Now. And when we say old, like old these days could be anything over 40 or even 50. I mean, I don't know. Okay, last question, because I know you probably have lots to do, but here's an interesting one, okay? I'll hold it up for you to see, okay, for the camera, okay? What does it say here? It says, what is greater than God, worse than the devil? The dead eat it, and if the living were to eat it, they would die. What is this thing? What is it?
What is it?
If you were on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, you'd be saying, I need to call a friend, right?
I need to call a friend.
Mm-hmm. Or ask the audience, maybe 50-50.
Yeah, can I have a 50-50, please?
Okay. Does nothing come to mind?
No.
Nothing at all?
No.
Not one thing?
No.
Nothing, absolutely nothing?
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing? So you're saying nothing comes to mind?
I can think of one thing.
What?
Do you know at church? At the end of church, you eat the piece of bread.
Do you? Yeah, I was trying to help him with that. Well spotted. See, I was saying, does nothing come to mind? Nothing at all? Nothing?
Oh.
Nothing?
Oh.
So what is greater than God? Nothing. What's worse than the devil? Nothing. And the dead eat? Nothing. And if the living were to eat nothing,
They die.
they would die. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
So that raises a few questions. Now, you may not realize what we're doing here today, but I'm using this as my platform, springboard, with a little platform there, to preach the gospel. To preach the gospel. Do you see the connection?
Yeah.
What is the connection? I'd love to hear.
I don't know what it is.
You don't? Okay. But there's sometimes you don't see things as you should, right? As in that picture of the women.
Yeah.
Sometimes you read things and are convinced that you're right when you're wrong, right?
Yeah.
And there may be things that you believe to be absolutely true, but you're wrong. Okay? Could you be wrong about those things? Now, and the last one it says, God, the devil, the dead, the living. These are all things that we talk about when we're preaching. To prepare people, for example, by saying, what's your name?
Julius.
Julius?
Yeah.
Right, Julius, are you ready for this question? What age are you?
14.
14. Now, Julius, I know you think that people die only when they're old, right? I mean, you have to be up in your 90s, right, before you die.
Yeah.
Okay? But supposing today was your day, and you didn't know it, because there are people who do die young, right? Supposing your day was today, would you be ready for what comes next? And do you know what comes next at all?
No.
What do you think happens when you die?
Well, when you die, it's Judgment Day.
Well, first of all, your body, as you're standing there right now, will probably fall to the ground.
Oh,
the physical part of you will come to an end. It will eventually turn to worms for the worms or whatever, fish food. I don't know what it's going to be, but that's only your physical body. However, there's more to you than just the physical body, right? There's the inner man, the spirit or the soul, right? So what happens to that? Someone has said it, there will be a judgment. If God was to judge you based upon your life today, to this day, how do you think you're doing? You think you're okay?
I'm doing good.
You think you're okay?
Yeah.
What is the standard by which God will judge is another question. Does he say, anything gets by me? Or is he quite severe and strict?
He is.
Well, he's holy.
Yeah.
God is holy. So let me ask you a quick question, Julius. Would you consider yourself to be a good person?
Yes.
Have you heard of the 10 Commandments? They're a standard of laws by which we live our lives.
I have.
Okay, do you know what they are?
No, I failed
religion. Do you know
religion.
any of them?
No.
Okay, number 1, you shall have only one God, and it's not to be yourself, right?
Yeah.
Number 2, you shall not make for yourself any idols. You might say, I haven't made any. I just have a few at home, but I didn't make them. Okay, right?
Yeah.
Could be anything your idol. Number 3, do not blaspheme God's name. Using God's name as a swear word. People do it all the time. Number 4, keep the Sabbath day holy. That is at least one day a week, right?
Yeah.
And number 5, honor your mother and father. Have you done that?
Of course.
Every day. Whatever
Every day.
you say, Mom, whatever you say, Dad, I'll do it. Right. Number 6, you shall not murder. I don't think we'll have a murderer here. But, you know, the New Testament says this, whoever hates somebody in their heart is actually a murderer at heart. Just to let you know. Number 7, you shall not commit adultery. By the way, that's this thing called sex outside of marriage. And by the way, in the New Testament, Jesus says, whoever looks at a woman to lust after her has already committed adultery with her in his heart. And the eighth commandment is, you shall not steal. Have you ever stolen anything before?
Never in my life. Never.
Okay. Well, we have witnesses here. Number 9, you shall not bear false witness, which is lying. Have you ever told a lie before?
I don't believe in lies, so I've never told a lie in my life.
You don't believe in lies?
No.
So you've never told a lie in your life? It's hard to believe, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, and the 10th commandment, you shall not covet. That's like when, I see somebody else with all this gear, the iPhone, the Apple Watch, whatever, the Nike gear, whatever, and then they say, I have to have what they have got. And there's a covetousness goes on, desiring things, and it can lead people to steal and all sorts of things. That's just an idea of the 10 Commandments. If God judged you based on the 10 Commandments, do you think he would find you innocent or guilty?
I'd be innocent.
Okay, and a lot of people would think that way. But you know what? We have a nature within us which is from the moment we are born, which is a tendency toward doing which is wrong in rebellion against God. And that's the bottom line. And if God judged us, every one of us would be guilty before God. That's why we need to get right with God. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay, give me that microphone. I know these girls are trying to drag you off somewhere, right? Yeah? Okay, so I've got something to give to you. A small takeaway from today. You can try answering that one there because it wasn't on the thing. You didn't see it at least. Right? What's wrong? They're camera shy, just to let you know. But there's cameras everywhere all around us. You know that? In the public arena. What age are you? So you're all about the same age. Do you know I was 17-year-old when I ever became a Christian? I wasn't raised a Christian. I was raised to think I was a Christian, but I wasn't a Christian. But it was when I was 17-year-old, bam, came to the reality that I need to get right with God. And I didn't know how to do that, but I did at 17-year-old. So that's only 3 years away from where you're at. But I wished I had started sooner. You see 4? Yeah. Let me just while you're waiting for your friends, let me just point out we have a larger than life version of that. Okay? See that? How many F's are there? You said how many? 4. There's the microphone. Shout it out. How many did you say?
4.
Couldn't hear that. The speakers must not be working. But the recording is, okay, 4 did you say? And it says count them only once. But don't go back and count them again. But I'll do that anyway, because I'm lying about it. You said 4?
I said 4.
The most common answer, the average person says 3. What did you say? 4. So he's above average, right? But there are in fact 6. And you didn't even see them after going over it a second time. You probably, did you notice that one there?
Yeah.
Did you notice that one there?
No.
Did you notice that one there?
I did not.
Okay, those are the most commonly missed ones. And you see, you can be convinced that you were right when you're wrong. You think, I'm getting it right when you're wrong. And that's one of the things that we talk to people about their religious beliefs as well. Like, what if you're wrong about these things? Could you be wrong about things you believed all your life and find out, man, I was wrong? That's our whole point. And then give the people the gospel. Thank you, Julius. Thank you for that. See you next time.